Good afternoon, everyone. Today's topic for seminar is relational database. Now, in a relational database system, tables are considered as relations. So, in short, if I consider this table, then this table is one relation. Now, this table is an n-ray relation. In short, it consists of n number of columns in the table, where n over here stands for the columns. Now, these columns are having name. So, these columns are called as attributes. Or the other name for these is fields. Now, if I consider the rows, so these are either called as rows itself or they are also called as tuples. Relational data, this table is a relation. So let us study more about the relations. So now a relation R on a set X is a subset of X cross X. In short, if I define a relation on any set, then the elements will be mapped in such a way that the elements of the set X will contain the elements of itself in the range. Now, let's take an example. I'll define a set A such that A is equal to 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now, relation R is defined in such a way that X, R, Y. Here X, R, Y stands for X is related to Y. Now, this X, R, Y can also be represented as R of X, Y in terms of functions, since relations are always functions. Now, apart from this, I can also represent it as Rxy. I'll just consider XRY, that is X is related to Y. Now, X is related to Y such that X is greater than Y and both X, Y belongs to the integer set. Now, I will write a relation R 4, 3, 6, 2, then 3, 1, 4, 1, 1, 7, 2, 6. Now, if I consider this 4, 3, obviously 4 is greater than 3. So, this condition holds good. That is, X is related to R. If I consider 6, 2, then even 6 is also greater than 2. Even this relation holds good. 3, 1, 3 is greater than 1. So, even this is in a relation with Y. So, now if I take 4, 1, obviously 4 is greater than 1. So, obviously this also holds good. If I consider 1, 7, then 1 is not greater than 7. So, this does not hold good. Also 2, 6, obviously 2 is not greater than 7. So, even this does not hold good. So, domain. So, obviously we have studied about domain and range. So, now I'll define domain as let R be a relation from a set A into a set B. So I'll define domain on relation R, and the symbol is D of R. I'll define it as D of R is equal to set of elements of A such that small a belongs to capital A, that is set A, and there exists B that belongs to the set B such that A comma B, the ordered pair A comma B belongs to R. So now D of R is the domain of R. Now range. Now the other image for range is image. The symbol for range is I of R, or we also write it as Im of R. That is, I'll define a relation from a set A into a set B in such a way that is equal to B such that B belongs to set B and there exists an element A that belongs to the set A such that A comma B belongs to R. Now if I take any mapping, suppose for example I'll take a mapping of ABC and I'll map it with the elements P, Q and R. So my mapping is like this. Now if this part is called as the domain and this part is called as the range. My mapping is in such a way that all the elements of domain are in relation with the range. So now this is important for the representation of the elements. Now representing relations. I can represent relations in 4 ways. First way is set, or it is also called as the ordered pair. I may define a set in such a way that is the relation R, what we consider. I can define a relation as 1, 1, 1, 2 and 3, 4. Now these 3 elements are called as ordered pairs. Next, set definition. The set definition is membership value. Now usually set definition in the sense B belongs to symbol. This belong to symbol indicates the membership value. For an example, I may define R in such a way that XRY, that is X minus Y divides 2. Where this both X comma Y belongs to the integer set. So this belongs to symbol indicates the membership value. Now the other this is arrow diagram. And the fourth one is digraph or directed graph. So let's discuss arrow diagram. Arrow diagram, in the sense, it is the representation of the relationship in arrows. Now the symbol is an arrow. This will represent the relation R. Previously we used to write it in the form of x, r, y. So now instead of writing it in this form, we'll write an arrow. Now just let's take an example and understand this. I'll take a set A, a set B, now I'll define a relation R on this. I'll define a relation in such a way that it consists an ordered pair A comma B such that A divides B for all A belongs to A and B belongs to set B. So now if we look at the relation, we have to write it in the form of ordered pairs such that A should divide B. 2 and 7, obviously 2 does not divide 7. So I'll take 2 and 10. 2 does divide 10. So I'll write the ordered pair 2 comma 10. 2 divides 12. 2 also divides 30. 3 does not divide 7. So I'm not gonna write it. 3 neither divides 10. But 3 divides 12. Also 3 divides 30. Now if I consider 5, 5 does not divide 7, but 5 divides 10. 5 does not divide 12, 5 divides 30. So now I am going to map these elements based on the relational set that I have defined. First is 2 comma 10. So I will map 2 and 10 with an arrow mark. 2 comma 12 and 2 comma 30. Next comes 3 comma 12 and 3 comma 30. Now 5 comma 10 and 5 comma 30. 5 comma 10, 5 comma 30. Now this is how I represented my arrow diagram. Now the name itself has indicated that there will be arrows in this. So those arrows will be mapped based on the relational set that we define. Since I have defined this relational set, I am going to write the diagram in such a way that the arrows will be pointing to the range. It won't from domain to the range. So now the next topic is directed graph. It's also called as a digraph. So now directed graph or digraph, it shows the direction of a relation. So now let's consider an example to see the directed graph or digraph. So I'll take a set A. I'll define a relation R in such a way that A comma A, A comma B, B comma B, B comma A, B comma C, B comma D, C comma D. So this is the relation. So now based on this relation, I'll be drawing the digraph or the directed graph. I'll take 4 points. A, B, C and D. Now A is related to A. So I'll draw a loop over here in the direction. Now A is related to B. So I'll draw a direction over here. Now B is also related to itself, so I'll draw a loop. Now B is related to A again. Next, B is related to C. B is related to D. And C is related to D. Over here you can see that I have taken it as A is related to B and B is related to A. So it shows the direction in which the relationship is being mapped. Over here only the domain to range elements will be mapped, but the reverse is not possible in few cases. So now this is the directed graph for the given relation. Now there is another topic called as inverse of relations. In inverse of relations, we will be dealing with domain as well as range. Now I will define a relation R. R be a relation from a set A into a set B. Now if I write the relation R, it will be in the form of R is equal to A comma B such that both A and B will be belonging to the set, A will be belonging to the set A and B will be belonging to the set B. Now if I write the inverse of R, I'll write the elements in the form of B comma A such that A comma B should always belong to the relation R. Now let's understand this by taking an example. I'll define a set A and a set B I'll also define a relation R on set A and B as 1 comma Q, 2 comma R, 3 comma Q and 4 comma P. Now these elements are in the form of A comma B. If I have to write the R inverse, I'll write it as, I'll just reverse the elements of the ordered pairs. So I'll write it in the form of Q comma 1, R comma 2, 3 comma Q comma 3 and P comma 4. Now you can clearly see that these elements are in the form of B comma A. Okay, so now this R inverse and R, I'll just be showing it through the arrow diagram. So if I take the relation R, 1 comma Q is present, 2 comma R is present, 3 comma Q is present and 4 comma P is present. Now if I have to write the R inverse, I'll write it in the form of Q comma 1, that is the arrow will be in the opposite direction. R comma 2, Q comma 3 and P comma 4. So here you can clearly see that the elements are in such a way that these are having a pre-image in the domain. So now this is the inverse of the relations. Now let's see the composition of the relations. Now I'll define a relation R whose domain is A and whose range, or I can also write it as image, is B. Now along with this, I'll also define another relation S whose domain contains B and range is in C. So basically I have considered three sets over here, that is A, B and C. I have defined a relation between A and B as R such that A is the domain and B is the range. And I have taken another relation S and I have defined the relation as B, as taking B as domain and C as the range. Now I'll write it in the form of S composition R, and this is always a subset of A cross C. Now I'll define the elements S composition R as A comma C such that there exist B belongs to set B with the ordered pair A comma B belongs to R and B comma C belongs to S. Okay, so now let us represent this in the form of a diagram. Now I've taken an example as A is a set of 1, 2, 3, 4, B as a set of P, Q, R, S, T and W, C as a set of A, E, I, O, U, and I have defined a relation R on A and B as 1, P, 1, S, 2, S, 3, Q, 4, T and 4, W. At the same time, I have defined a relation S on B and C such that P, I, R, 0, S, A, T, E and W, O. So now this is the composition of S and R. Now how did I get this composition? So one is related to P and P is related to I. So I have written as 1, I. One is related to S is related to A, so I got the composition as 1, A. 2 is related to S is related to A, so the composition is 2, A. 3 is related to Q, but in S we are not having Q, so we are not gonna write that one over here in S composition R. Next, 4 is related to T is related to E, so I have written the composition as 4, E. 4 is related to W and W is related to O, so I have written the composition as 4, O. Now if I represent this in a diagram, I'll write it as 1 related to P and P related to I, and over here 1 is also related to I. Next, 1 related to S and S over here is related to A. So 1 is also related to A. Next, 2 related to S. So now 2 is related to S and S is related to A. So 2 is related to A. Now 3 is related to Q. Over here Q is not related to anything, so I cannot map over here, neither will here the mapping come. Now 4 is related to T, and T is related to E. And here 4 is related to E. Next 4 is related to W. W is related to O. So 4 is also related to O. So this is the representation of composition of relations. Now let us see the properties of relations. So now we will be seeing the properties of relations. Now there are three properties of relations: reflexive, symmetric, and transitive. So now let us see the first property, reflexive. So a reflexive property can be defined as, if I consider a set A, I'll define a relation on A such that I'll consider an element small a. This will be of the set A itself. Now I'll define it in such a way that for all A belongs to A, I'll define a relation ARA. In short, it means A is related to A. For example, if I take a set A is equal to 1, 2 and 3, then the relation will be in the form of 1, 1, 2, 2 as well as 3, 3. Now this is called as the reflexive property. So now if we go for not reflexive, then I can write the elements. For all A belongs to the set A, and I'll define a relation ARA such that A, does not belong to R, the relation R. Now if I consider the previous example as A is equal to 1, 2, 3, I can write the relation as 1, 2, 1, 3 as well as 2, 3. But over here it is not reflexive because 1, 1, 2, 2 as well as 3, 3 is missing. So this is not reflexive. Now the next property is symmetric property. I'll take a set A. I'll take two elements from the set A. Now I'll define it in such a way that for all A, B belongs to A. Now whenever A is related to B, this property holds good. Then B related to A must also hold for a set to be said as symmetric. A relation should be symmetric if and only if for all A, B belongs to A, whenever A is related to B holds good, then B must be related to A. Even this property should hold good. Now, not symmetric property, obviously it is opposite to symmetric. That is, if there exists A, B belongs to A, the set A, whenever A is related to B holds, but B related to A, this does not belong to the relational set, or this does not holds good. At that time, so not symmetric in the sense it does not hold the property of a symmetric relation. So the next property is transitive property. Now, transitive property in the sense, for all A, B, C belongs to the set A. I will be considering 3 elements from the set A. Over here, whenever A is related to B and B is related to C holds good, then A related to C must also hold. Then this is called as a transitive property. Not transitive in the sense if there exist A, B, C, 3 elements in a set A, such that A comma B belongs to R, as well as B comma C belongs to R, but A comma C does not belongs to R. So if this condition is satisfied, then it is not transitive. Now we will be seeing equivalence relations. A relation R on a set A is said to be an equivalence relation if it satisfies all the 3 properties, that is reflexive, symmetric as well as transitive property. So now let us see this by taking an example. So I'll take an example. I'll define a set A as A, B and C and D. Now I'll define a relation R on this such that A comma A, B comma B, C comma C, D comma D, A comma B, B comma A, C comma D, D comma C. So now this is said to be, this is an equivalence relation. The reason is it is reflexive. A comma A also belongs to the set A itself, both the elements. B comma B, C comma C, D comma D. In short, A is related to A, B is related to B, C is related to C and D is related to D. Now symmetric property, if we check, A is related to B and B is related to A. C is related to D and D is related to C. Transitive property, A is related to A is related to B, again A is related to B. B is related to B, B is related to A, again B is related to A. C is related to C, C is related to D, again we'll get C related to D, D related to D, D related to C, again we'll get it as C, D related to C. So this whole part, the whole relation is called as an equivalence relation. Closure of properties on relation. In short, the closed relations. Now there are 2 types of closed relations, that is symmetric closure as well as transitive closure. Now first let us see the symmetric closure. Now symmetric closure, I'll define a relation R on a non-empty set A. Then also a relation S on A is called as symmetric of R, symmetric closure of R, if S is symmetric and also R should be a subset of S. Now if there exists another set T that is symmetric relation on A, then such that R is a subset of T, then obviously S will be a subset of T since R is a subset of S. Now, from the definition of symmetric closure, it is very much clear that if R is symmetric, then the symmetric closure of R is R itself. Now let us see the transitive closure. Now transitive closure in the sense, again I will define a relation R on non-empty set A. Also I will define a relation S on A, then it is called. Now I'll define a relation R on a non-empty set A, and also I'll define a relation S on A is said to be transitive if first S is transitive, R is a subset of S. At the same time, if another set T is transitive on A, such that R is a subset of T, then S is also a subset of T. Now, this stands for transitive closure. S should be transitive. Transitive in the sense A related to B, B related to C, which implies A is always related to C, where A, B and C belongs to the set A, the non-empty set A. Over here we have taken it symmetric, so A is related to B implies B is related to A. The remaining two properties are similar. So that's all about the relation or relational database. Thank you so much for watching the video.